Well, hello. I'm continuing up my I am continuing my trip up the eastern end of North Dakota. I will identify towns and roads as they change and down below. And but we're just continuing doing some random discussions. This discussion is going to take more than 1 week. So look forward to at least a part 2, possibly a part 3. I have been collecting information on this one, but putting off doing the video, and it honestly took up most of my free time last week preparing this. I wrote a rough draft, and then I redid the draft. I have a written out script, so you can find that. I put a link in the video description. I believe it'll be too long, so I put all of the references and links, so you'll see footnotes to this video. All of those are on an Evernote page, which is linked in the video description. So let's dive into the actual topic. So every so often it becomes popular to use the power of big government to make sure people can't read certain books or be exposed to certain ideas. Maybe Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn contains the ugly, racist language of the people of its time and place. Maybe Catcher in the Rye acknowledges the thoughts and feelings of teenagers and admits that they have sexual feelings too. Maybe politicians are fighting culture wars by attacking books about the experiences of racial or sexual minorities. We're in such a period right now. Libraries and schools are suddenly dealing with a loud minority, attacking them after being whipped into a crazed frenzy by politicians and media figures who aren't interested in issues of substance, who aren't trying to make people's lives better. They're just trying to foment outrage. The trouble is that in creating this outrage, real people are being harmed. They're being assaulted with terms like groomer or having their lives threatened. And these same politicians defend those threats as free speech or expressing an opinion. This librarian is fed up with it.
Why did we close last week? Well, I'll tell you, we have a breaking point. We have been threatened, we have been cursed. I come to work every day, and let me tell you, I'm working twice as many hours because we can't hire anybody because of the choices that you made. I come in here and greet everyone with a smile on my face. How are you? Hope you had a good day. Every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week I've been working. There are signs. I can't bring my grandchildren to this town. They know I'm a librarian. They can read. I'm a pedophile. How dare you people? You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. You have said I have sexualized your children. I'm grooming your children. I have 6 grandkids out there. I choose what they read when they come here with me. I chose what my children read. But we broke last week. We were threatened again. I have been cursed on the phone. I have been threatened on the phone. I've had to put the phone on nights for what goes on. I've had people come in here with cameras. People come in with stuff on their phone saying I checked out books to an 11-year-old. An 11-year-old does not belong in here without parents. Read what your kid's taking. But we broke. Deal with it. We're human. And I'm tired. And I'm tired of all of you. I moved to this town 2.5 years ago, and I regret it every day for the last year. This has been horrible. I didn't know people could be like this. I wasn't raised this way. I believe in God. I'm Catholic. I'm Christian. I'm everything you are. But I was taught to love your neighbor as you love yourself, no matter what they're like. That God loves all of us. That's not what I hear every day. Not from you, not from the people that come in here anymore. But please understand, we are human and we broke. It was one threat too many, one accusation too many. And all we do is come in here to serve you day after day after day. You're welcome.
So that video has made the rounds. I have some other links further on that talk about her community, and you can see some of the signs for yourself. But let's start by talking about what book bans look like in the United States. It's very difficult in the modern U.S. to outright ban a book. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution sees to that. Though, historically there have been a few books that have been banned using various means. What it looks like now is angry groups yelling at libraries. Bills or laws that they market as to protect minors. But really it's to squash ideas. Libraries being defunded. Good people being harassed until they surrender or quit in disgust. But the effect is the same. Unapproved or uncomfortable ideas are censored. Someone else decides for you and I what ideas we're allowed to be exposed to, and they find ways to use the hammer of big government to do that. Now some will claim, hey, you can still buy the books, but even that has been under threat. And should only those with money to spend be allowed to access controversial ideas? In fact, not this week, but in the next one, I'm going to talk about a teacher who got in trouble for making books available to her students from the library. She's out of a job now. And I'm also going to talk about some attempt to stop Barnes & Noble from selling certain books. And I'm going to talk right now about what the state of North Dakota may do if a certain two bills end up getting passed. So the state of North Dakota, which is where I live, is currently flirting with censorship, all under the guise of protecting the children. Senate Bill 2123 and House Bill 1205 share common language. They make it illegal to display pornography where minors may be exposed to it, which sounds good, but the devil is in the details. So I'll just note that in North Dakota, the legislature meets every 2 years, and they have a limited number of days to do it, so all this legislating happens very rapid fire. So a person is I'm quoting now, a person is guilty of a Class B misdemeanor if he, apparently only he, if he willfully displays at newsstands or any other business establishment frequented by minors or where minors are or may be invited as part of the general public, any photograph, book, paperback book, pamphlet, or magazine, the exposed cover or available content of which exploits, is devoted to, or is principally made up of depictions of nude or partially denuded figures, human figures, or presented in a manner to exploit sex, lust, or perversion for commercial gain. I'm no prude. I own a lot of used books, including a few books that date back to the 1800s. I've got a few old paperbacks, and newer ones, that have some nude figures. Now, did they exploit sex, lust, or perversion for commercial gain? I mean, they're trying to sell books. Nudity's a good way to get somebody's attention. Now, of course, they cover up buttocks, breasts, and crotches, but they're clearly nude. And these covers include males and females, and like I said, they date back a long time ago. I've got, what was it called? Forgot. A 1950s science fiction book. I think it's Brave New World, 1930s, but the paperback is from the 50s. Naked man pulling a woman who's also unclothed out of him like a wormhole thing, and they're turned just right so you don't see crack, crotch, whatever. Anyway, use your imagination. And I don't collect them for the nudity. I mean, why would you? But I do enjoy used books because that's primarily what I buy is used books. Sorry, authors out there, the used ones are cheaper. So this brings up the question of definitions, and luckily the House bill is full of details. The Senate bill was not. So from the House bill, Nude or partially denuded human figures means less than completely and opaquely covered human genitals, pubic regions, female breasts, or a female breast, if the breast or breasts are exposed below a point immediately above the top of the areola, or human buttocks, and includes human male genitals in a discernibly turgid state, even if completely and opaquely covered. Where minors are or may be invited as a part of the general public includes any public roadway or public walkway. The above shall not be construed to include a bona fide school, college, university, museum, public library, or art gallery. So I'm just sitting here thinking about the mindset of somebody writing a bill like this. It is weirdly specific, and yet also in some ways way too general. And are we seriously going to look at crotches of males to determine whether they've gotten excited or not? I mean, okay, if that's your thing, go nuts. But I guess I don't spend much time looking at male crotches in art, photography, or real life. And do we measure female breasts? And, of course, we're going to disregard male breasts. And how much buttocks is okay? Is, a little side butt okay? That's what's on the cover of my Brave New World novel. What about the plumber who shows a little crack while he's working under your sink? Fortunately, Michelangelo's David is flaccid, although he's not circumcised. A little questionable for a Jewish boy of 14. And how many 14-year-old boys look like Michelangelo's David? Does the law allow us to appreciate what an impressive piece of art? Or is David pornography? The House bill pretends to offer answers. So I quote, "Public libraries prohibited from maintaining or promoting certain books. Explicit sexual material does not include works of art that, when taken as a whole, have serious artistic significance or works of anthropological significance, or materials used in science courses, including materials used in biology, anatomy, physiology, or sexual education classes. The term means any pictorial, three-dimensional, or visual depiction, including any photography, picture, or computer-generated image showing 1. Human masturbation, 2. Deviant sexual intercourse, 3. Sexual intercourse, 4. Direct physical stimulation of genitals, 5. Sadomasochistic abuse, 6. Postpubertal human genitals, 7. Sexual preferences, 8. Sexual activity, 9. Sexual perversion, 10. Sex-based classifications, 11. Sexual identity, or 12. Gender identity." So, I guess I can use a dick pic if it's in an anatomy class, so that's a relief. But, looking at that list, that weirdly specific list, and again, also weirdly not specific, just what is deviant sexual intercourse? And actually, even normal sexual intercourse, whatever that is also banned. According to this bill, apparently I can show a 4-year-old's genitals, but not a 14-year-old's genitals. So, sorry, Michelangelo, David's got to cover up. Which seems to be a strange distinction. Why is it okay to show the genitals of prepubescent children? That's weird. I also can't show pictures of my parents or my girlfriend. Showing of sexual preference not allowed. Probably shouldn't do any selfies since I'm male. Might be breaking the law if this stupid bill becomes one by showing my face. So lucky it's a driving video. I'm not androgynous, so I'm showing my sexual identity. And what is meant by sexual activity? If I'm photographed kissing my girlfriend, does that count? Or does it only matter if it's a boyfriend? Or maybe a different race? And what's meant by sexual perversion? Is it only certain activities with a same-sex partner? Or is it something I do with my girlfriend that some people just don't like? I mean, I could go on and on with this list, but I do hope to make at least a few pennies off this video, so I'm not going to continue analyzing these bills. Let's just jump to the last bit. So, public library, according to the bill, means a library containing collections of books or periodicals for the general population to read, borrow, or refer to, which is supported with funds derived from taxation. A public library may not maintain in its inventory or promote books that make as their primary subject the study of explicit sexual material. An individual who believes a public library is maintaining a book in violation of subsection 2 may submit a written request to the public library to remove the book from its inventory. A public library shall remove the book requested for removal within 30 days of receiving the request. By January 1st, 2024, each public library shall develop a policy and a process for reviewing library collections to ensure conformance with the requirements of this section. The policy must include a procedure for the development of a book collection that is appropriate for the age and maturity levels of the individuals who may access the materials, and which is suitable for and consistent with the purpose of the library. For the public library to receive and evaluate a request from an individual regarding the removal of one or more books in the library collection containing explicit sexual material, and to periodically review the library collection to ensure the library collection does not contain explicit sexual material. This act applies to any book inventory or collection maintained by a public library after March 31st, 2024. So what does that mean? Quote, a public library may not maintain in its inventory or promote books that make as their primary subject the study of explicit sexual material. Michelangelo's David is pretty sexually explicit. We all know his circumcision status. And apparently libraries must remove books that people object to within 30 days. So booksellers and librarians are, quite rightly, concerned about the effects of this bill on their livelihoods. It's poorly defined and could very easily lead to a witch hunt. Minot, North Dakota is quite familiar with the power of loud, intolerant voices. I put a link to another video I did where people freaked out in Minot over a little flag. I just lost my line. Okay, found it again. So, fun fact, if you ever visit my parents, which you better not, my mother owns a copy of the book Forever Amber because it was taken out of the library of the high school where she worked back in the 1970s. The book's crime? Somebody touched a breast. More recently, the graphic novel Mouse, about the Holocaust, was pulled from some schools. The excuse given was the drawing of naked cartoon mice. There is some suspicion that it may also have as much to do with, the negative depiction of the Nazis, or perhaps a bit of Holocaust denial. In my small hometown in Pennsylvania, the school board faced controversy over Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and no, it didn't have the cover that my 1950s copy has. This is a classic book of a dystopian future ruled by distractions such as drugs and sex, such that people don't notice the conditions they live under. Of course, it was a local church that objected to it, totally missing the larger point of the book, the similarities to our own country, or the classic phrase from the Roman era, bread and circuses. And no, you don't get a reference. My parents still live in that town. So you'll just have to guess where it happened. So this is one of the dangers of this kind of censorship. Are we afraid to face major ideas because someone may be offended? And it raises the question, too, how much do we shelter children? And what do we do? And when do we start seeing the adults they will become? And, speaking as someone who spends a lot of time around kids ages 12 to 18, they are not the innocents that some like to pretend that they are. It's just an excuse to censor and control what you're reading. So I will have a part 2 for sure, possibly a part 3 on this. I was amazed when I started writing how the words flowed from my pen. And they wouldn't stop. And I did a part of this writing while selling tickets at a basketball game. And people were asking me, what are you doing? Because I guess I was just writing up a storm. And it means a lot to me, this censorship. I am somebody who values books, values knowledge. And I take it personally, the idea that somebody out there wants to say, yeah, I don't want to read this, and I want to make sure you don't either. So, we'll see you in a week or so with part 2 of this. And we're getting closer to some beautiful scenery, but I know right now it doesn't seem like it. And fun little jaunt we'll take to the side. Somewhere along the line, we're going to go to Mountain, North Dakota. Yes, there is a town in North Dakota called Mountain. But the real treat will come when we get to Walhalla. So look forward to that. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.